Reimagining Success, Episode 27. You're listening to Reimagining Success, the podcast where we help you reimagine your future, designing a life and career beyond the 9 to 5 that allows you the freedom, flexibility and fulfillment that you've been dreaming of. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg. Now, let's get started on those dreams. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Reimagining Success podcast. Now, for the last few weeks, we've been looking at some of the ways in which you can set up your business to give you the freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment that you're after. And we kicked off this content series with my belief that running your own business really is the best way to get that freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment, whatever that looks like for you. So whether you want to be location independent so that you can travel the world with only a backpack on your shoulders, or so that you can plan your work and time off around your children. And with that in mind, we're shifting our attention now to the specific scenario of having a young family and why starting your own business is the best way to prepare for that. So first then, what is wrong with a corporate 9 to 5 when it comes to having a young family? Well, on the surface, nothing, because it may seem like a full-time job is the safest option when it comes to having children. You get a steady salary, you'll get paid maternity leave, and you have the security of having a guaranteed role to come back to once you're ready to start working again. But on the other hand, of course, there is the stereotypical image of startups and entrepreneurs made up of young 20-somethings, no children, no real obligations to anyone but themselves, maybe working late into the night in a co-working space and lacking any personal life, or at the other end of the spectrum, swanning around on a beach with not a care in the world. You know, you have the famous entrepreneurs like Elon Musk and Gary Vaynerchuk. They don't sleep, they make millions from the hustle. Or again, at the other end of the extreme, you have the struggling freelancer who's faced with the eternal roller coaster of ups and downs in their business. And all this seems to point to the fact that actually it's far too risky to quit your job, to run your own business, whether you're a freelancer, business owner, solopreneur, whatever you want to call yourself, when you're having children. And you really have to now, if never another time, this time you really do have to stay in your full-time job. However, none of these images, the stereotypical images of the full-time job security or the startups, either the struggling freelancer or the hustling person who never sleeps, none of these images is particularly accurate. When it comes to actually working once you have your children, the so-called 9 to 5 of a full-time job, of course, is never just 9 to 5. And large corporations especially will have rigid rules and a long-established culture. And so even if lip service is being paid, as it often is these days, to flexible working and work-life balance, there will often be pressure to come back early or to go up to full-time right away. And I think a lot of us will have the fear that we might be replaced or perhaps relegated to a less interesting role. Not to mention the fact that your old school boss may well frown at leaving the office early to go home to your sixth child or pick them up from school. When it comes to running your own business, on the other hand, there are so many shades of grey or colours of the rainbow in between that millionaire hustler at the one end of the spectrum and the struggling freelancer at the other. And it is perfectly possible and reasonable to earn a good living in your own business while running it on your own terms, with the work-life balance, or the phrase I prefer, work-life integration, that you're after. And of course, I'm always talking about creating freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment in your life. So let's now look at each of these in turn and how running your business is the best way to create and apply these concepts when you're planning to have children. So let's start with freedom. Now, freedom can mean different things, of course, to different people. Freedom to make your own decisions, freedom to take time off without asking anybody for permission, freedom to live your life essentially on your own terms. In this case, when we're talking about family, children, freedom can mean deciding exactly how and when you want to work around your young family. And since this is your definition of freedom, and of course of success more broadly, you can tailor it to what you want as a parent. So, for example, how much parental leave will you want to take? How much work will you take on once you do decide to come back again? Will you want to spend as much time as you can at home with your children, with your business running at a steady level without your direct involvement? Or will you want to get robust childcare in place so that you can focus on driving your ambitious business plans? Will you want your children to be part of your business? The kind of mumpreneur phenomenon. Or do you want to keep them completely out of the picture, not posting on social media and so on? What kind of work will you want to and not want to be doing once you have children, and with which types of clients? When you start your own business, you get to design your business model so that it fits with your individual criteria. You can say no to the projects and clients that don't work for you, and it really does give you the freedom you want and need to be the parent and also to be the business owner that you want to be. So freedom for me is the ultimate benefit that comes from running your own business, being your own boss, deciding on your own business model and how you want to run your business. Now, secondly, flexibility. So aside from the big picture notion of freedom in your business, there is also this more practical aspect of flexibility. And like freedom, flexibility can mean different things. So for example, it can mean working part-time, choosing your own hours, working from anywhere, working from home, or taking on more or less work as you go, depending on your wants and needs. And again, of course, you can define your own criteria for what flexibility looks like for you. For example, do you want to be able to work from home? Or maybe you'd enjoy travelling to a client's office or to a co-working space so that you can actually put some clothes on and get out of the house. How many clients do you want to take on? What's the maximum capacity? And how many days do you want to be working each week? What are the hours that you absolutely want to keep free? For example, so that you can do the school run in the morning and the afternoon, so you can always be home for bedtime, and so you never miss a football match, dance performance, theatre, whatever it might be. Are there certain times of the year when you want to take a bigger chunk of time off to be with your family, say during the long summer holidays? Do you want a certain structure and routine in your working week? Or do you want it to be super flexible so that you can make last-minute decisions on what you do with your time? And clearly the answers to these questions, and these are just some examples of questions you can ask, will evolve over time as your children grow older and your situation changes. Because of course, working around a baby's schedule is very different to working when you have school-aged children. Brings new opportunities and new challenges, I think. But again, the point is that you get to decide and to adjust your parameters as you go. So flexibility really is, again, another massive benefit of running your own business and perfect for when you're planning to or already having children. And finally, fulfilment. Now, a lot of the people I've spoken to over the years, and let's be honest, they have all been women. So apologies when I talk about mums, because I'd love for this to apply to men as well. But these people have cited having children as one of the primary drivers, actually, for wanting to set up their own business. A lot of mums don't want to lose their professional identity. They want to continue doing challenging and stimulating work. However, it can be really hard to find part-time work with that freedom and flexibility they're after on the one hand, and at the same time, the intellectual stimulation that they're still craving on the other. Now, designing and building your own business means that you can keep doing the work that you're good at and that you love to do, while also building in that freedom and flexibility that will allow you to spend time with your little ones. If you build a business that's bigger than just you as a solopreneur or freelancer, it also means that you can choose to create that family-first company culture for your team, where all your employees can benefit from that same freedom and flexibility without any discrimination because of their personal choices to have children. So you can create that freedom and flexibility alongside fulfillment. By definition, you're choosing, hopefully, to design a business that is interesting to you, that leverages your personal strengths and skills, that has a bigger mission, that really feels meaningful and fulfilling to you, while also having that family-first culture. Whether the culture is, a one-person business, you have a couple of freelancers working with you, or you have a bigger team. And that's incredible that you can really lead the way there and make sure that, again, that family-first company culture is really embedded in your organisation. So I hope you can see then that all three, for freedom, flexibility and fulfillment, I've always talked about the general principles of how these three things come from running your own business. And I've always assumed and believed that this applies whatever your definitions of these things. So again, whether you want to travel the world, pack up all your things into boxes, sell everything on eBay, live in a van, travel around the world with your backpack, or whether it means that you want to as I said, stay at home with your family, at least in the short term, or whatever it might be. And there's, of course, many other options between those two as well. It's not just backpacking or having a family. And in fact, you might want to have a family while backpacking. So it's all about what you define as success, what freedom means to you, what flexibility means to you, and what fulfillment means to you. But I hope you can see, and I hope you agree with me, that these general principles of reimagining what success looks like for you, creating that freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment with your business applies just as much when we're talking about planning for or having a young family. So what next? Well, at a theoretical level, at least, the ideal, I think, would be to start a business now. Let's assume, you don't have children yet. You're thinking about maybe having children in the next few years. Because the early days of a new business, or let's be honest, rather the early months and years, will see you working hard. You'll be learning new things, you'll be trying different things, building up your business as you go, maybe alongside a full-time job as well as a side hustle. And you want to be able to do that without the inevitable sleep deprivation and distractions that come with trying to keep a newborn baby alive. So, assuming you don't have children, if you start now, you'll have time to work out what business you want to run. You can build an established online presence, and that really does take time. It can take, months or years to build the credibility, the following, the community, and then to create a pipeline of clients as well. It also means that you can build your business in such a way that it will survive when you take time off. And, the last few weeks we've been looking at creating systems, outsourcing, leveraging your time. So I'd encourage you to go back to those few episodes we've had over the last few weeks and really think about those in the context of making this business work for you when you're off on parental leave, maternity leave, and then also when you have the young children and you want things to be running smoothly, even when you can't be in the business every minute, every hour of every day. It also means that you can make sure that you have the finances already to be able to take that time off. Because, of course, if you're just starting a new business, you don't yet have the income coming in, it can be quite tricky to take the time off, to not have any paid maternity pay coming in, to not have any income coming in during those first few months. However, in practice, it may not always work that way, and there is no need to think in these black and white terms. It's not, either you set up your business before you have children or it's not possible. If you already have children, it is not too late. I have worked with plenty of people, and there are several stories in my book, Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5, about people who have ended up starting a business while on maternity leave. Sometimes on maternity leave with their second child, when they also had a toddler in tow as well. Now, yes, it will be hard work, but if anything, it's all the more urgent to get this working for you when you already have children. So if you haven't checked out my book, do check out Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5. It's on Amazon. And again, there are several, and maybe I'll throw out some names here. You can look up Ruth Kudzi, for example, Charlotte Brune Christensen, and Christina Lister. They all talk about how they built up their businesses to work around their children. And next week, we will be getting much more concrete in terms of how to actually physically set up your business so that it will work for starting a family in the future. Or again, in practical terms, don't worry, if you already have children and you want to find a way to better manage that family in the present. So this is a topic we'll be again looking at over the next few weeks. It's a complex one. It builds on everything we've been doing these last few weeks. Again, the general principles of the reality of running a business, of the idea of building that freedom and flexibility into the work that you do, of creating systems, outsourcing, leveraging your time better, setting up the financials, getting the mindset, and of course, avoiding burnout. All of these last few weeks of episodes are 100%, if not more, applicable when it comes to running a business with a young family. But again, over the next few weeks, we'll be looking at creating that family first business, why running your own business really is the best way to get that freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment. Again, next week, how you can set up the business to work with a baby and young children, preparing for taking time off for your maternity or parental leave, and the realities of running a business with a baby as well. So I hope this is a topic that's interesting to you. I know that several of my clients were asking about this. They were sort of at those early stages of thinking maybe in the next few years of having children. I think often, our career change, the ideas around sort of creating that legacy and building a different kind of business, finding more meaningful work can often coincide with waking up and thinking, hang on a second, I'm single, I'd really like to meet someone, or actually, my partner and I are beginning to think about starting a family. And, although it might seem complex to have all these things happening at the same time, it's actually the perfect opportunity to, again, create, to design, to build that business to work with how you want things to work once you have children. So I hope you found that interesting. I look forward to digging into this topic deeper in the next few weeks. And I will see you next week when we'll be again looking at more concrete ideas around how to physically, practically set up your business that will work for starting or managing a family. Thanks so much, and I'll see you then. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Reimagining Success with Anna Lundberg. If you're looking for support and encouragement as you begin to reimagine success in your life, then come on over and join us in the One Step Outside Facebook group. You'll find like-minded people who will cheer you on, as well as free training sessions and lots more. To join, visit onestepoutside.com/community or just search for One Step Outside on Facebook. I'll see you over there.